Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what we have here. We kind of have a display case displaying some of my favorite things. You can kind of see what I like here. Hey, look, there's a He-Man with some Skeletor, some Star Wars, and I like to kind of collect some old Beta and VHS stuff. But that's not really what I want to show you today. You can see this top little shelf here has a little cover that could slide out. It has some glass. Also the bottom too as well. Now, but this one, unfortunately, the glass broke and I want to replace that today. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut some glass and replace the glass for this shelf. Okay, so I went ahead and took the little door off. You can see they're held in by these little dowels. And when the glass is in place, there's these little metal tabs that hold the glass in place. So all you have to do is loosen these and put the new pane of glass in, tighten these up, and you're set. Okay, so I already pre-measured the space from this little lip. Again, the glass kind of sits in this little groove here. And so I measured from this little lip all the way to here. I both measured from here, this width, as well as the width up there. It could be a little different. Now, when measuring glass, you kind of want to give yourself a little fudge room. So I did measure a little bit in from the edge, because if you cut it and it doesn't fit, well, it's really difficult to impossible to cut off another 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch. So this, the width is 24 and 1/8 inches, and the height, again, I measured it from there and there, that would be 9.5 inches. And this little play, since this lip is kind of big, I have a little bit extra play there. So I went ahead and pre-purchased the pane of glass. This one is 12 inches by 36 inches. You can purchase panes of glass, various sizes. This is just clean replacement glass, 3/32 inches thick, which is, you can use these for picture frames, these kind of little doors. You could also replace small broken panes of glass in, let's say, basement window, etc. So here's one that's 16 by 20 inches, and again, they come in all different sizes. You can get some that are bigger than this, but not too much bigger. You can't get humongous panes of glass. This one was at Home Depot and Lowe's, so they usually just kind of, you can get replacement glass like this. Other hardware stores, you can get much bigger panes, and some actually will cut them for you. Home Depot and Lowe's will no longer cut those for you, and so you wouldn't even have to cut them yourself. You can just tell them the exact size and you could have them pre-cut. Now this one actually tells you kind of what you need, like a little marker, a glass cutter, and some oil. Now the oil is optional. I do have just a standard steel wheel. You can see a little wheel up on top, glass cutter. The steel wheel, you can use oil to help prevent the rust, but it's really not needed. You can also get some carbide tip wheels, which last much longer, but if you're just periodically going to cut some glass here and there, and you're not doing this all the time, just a steel wheel cutter is fine, and these are just really only a few dollars. So I got the wrappings out, and there's a little bit of a stickiness there that when this was folded down, it sort of stuck to the glass, so you have to be careful peeling that back. And I did notice there must have been some damage here at the corner, because when I was peeling this back, and it looks like it was damaged one time, and so the crack just essentially propagated. So you have to be careful removing these things. Hopefully you get a piece of glass that doesn't have pre-damage like this. But I don't need the whole thing, so I'll just cut it on this side. Okay, with a Sharpie I just kind of marked where the 24 and 1/8 inch line is. I'm just going to cut it on this cardboard which came with the glass. It's a nice solid surface, and I just grabbed a piece of wood that I knew was straight. So I'm going to use this to cut along it. Now you could use other straight edges. If you use plastic or metal, it may be a little more slippery. You could even put some tape underneath here. But when you put this down, you want it to be secure and not shift while you're cutting. Now the cutter has a thickness. The wheel is the part, if you can see here, the wheel is a part that actually does the cutting. But there's a thickness beyond there. So you can't just put it against here and expect this surface to be where you cut. It's going to be a fraction of an inch a little bit to, in this case, the right. And so when you cut, you just have to be aware of that. Now I did draw this line, so actually my line is on the left side. That's where I want the cut. So I'm just going to place it carefully. And again, I'm offsetting it a little bit to account for the thickness of the cutter. And then I'm just going to place it a little bit so I know kind of the distance away that it has to be. That's about right. And now when I cut it, you're going to hear kind of a ripping sound. Now cutting at first up here, you're going to be a little bit, maybe a fraction of an inch below the edge, and you're going to kind of roll up a little bit to kind of cut that edge. You have to do a decent cut here or you can get a split on the side there. But you're going to start a little bit in and kind of score up, and then from there you're going to score the rest. And you can hear that ripping sound. Now you could have done that cut with gloves, but I find it easier to hold things down and manipulate the cutting blade without gloves. But when you break the glass from this point, you may actually want to wear gloves if you don't feel secure. Now you could just lift up the glass, it's a little bit large, and break it, holding both sides. You could rotate this on an edge and then kind of break it on the edge. You can also lift it up, put a little bit of wood underneath here. I like to use just a dowel. So I generally slip a dowel underneath. Kind of center the dowel in the center of the cut, just like this. Now this is a 332 thick inch pane. If it's a thicker pane, you may want to actually flip it over and do a cut on the opposite side, and that will help make the cut much more straight. In this case, just one cut on one side is fine. So I just hold it with one hand on this side, and then I push down just a little bit on this side. And there's your cut. And there you have it. The new pane of glass is in. It looks very nice. Everything's complete. Nice display. I hope this video helped you out, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.